Hi there, Kendra Tolbert here. I'm so excited to come to you today with an answer to this question that I've been asked probably more times than I can count. And the question is, what can I do to quickly lose weight in order to improve my PCOS and improve my infertility? So today I'm going to dive in and let you know my take on this particular question. I like to get into the answer right away. The quick answer is I don't have a tip for that. I really don't, and there's a number of reasons I don't. And I heard this quote, I shouldn't say I heard it, I read this quote in this lovely book called Sabbath by Wayne Mueller. And the quote is, "In the soil of the quick fix is the seed of a new problem." And I felt like that perfectly summed up exactly why I don't recommend or subscribe to quick fixes for anything health related, right? Because so often when we try to go after that quick fix, what ends up happening instead is we cause a whole new problem. So maybe you go on this highly restrictive diet, and yeah, maybe you lose some weight, maybe water weight, but then what you find is that maybe you end up with a nutrient deficiency because you're going without the very foods that your body actually needs. Maybe you end up binging because restriction always leads to binging. It just does. It's the normal, pattern. It's the normal way that our bodies move, right? Like you can't go to one extreme without needing to go back to the other extreme to try to get back to balance. So I'm not a huge fan of quick fixes, and I'm also not a huge fan of focusing on weight loss in general. Say what? You're probably surprised and wondering, really, a dietitian who does not believe in weight loss? Now, I didn't say that I think it's bad if your body loses weight. Bodies gain and lose weight because bodies change. So I'm not against weight loss. I'm against the intentional pursuit of weight loss. I think when we focus on weight loss rather than overall eating pattern, overall well-being, we just miss the mark entirely, because you can lose weight quickly. You can lose weight in a lot of unhealthy ways, but that doesn't mean that you've become healthier. So I'd much rather see people focus on healthy habits that support overall well-being without deprivation, without that kind of rebound binging that occurs as a result of under-eating and over-exercising, aka dieting. I'd much rather see people focus there. That's sustainable. That's something that no matter what size you are, is universally going to help us improve our well-being. And I'm all for things that are universal and not for things that make one group of people feel bad and another group of people feel like they're doing it right. What's the point in that? In addition to intentional weight loss, or the pursuit of intentional weight loss, not actually being something that I personally agree with or recommend, there's some research to back up why pursuing weight loss might not be the best way to improve your health. And that research says that the intentional pursuit of weight loss is the greatest indicator that we have of future weight gain. So once again, it causes the very problem. Weight isn't a problem, it's just a fact. We all have different weights, but it actually may make the problem worse. So again, in the soil of the quick fix is the seed of a new problem, right? It just keeps coming back around to the fact that our bodies weren't meant to be manipulated, our bodies weren't meant to be micromanaged, they were meant to be supported and trusted. Maybe you yourself have actually had this experience where you've gone on a diet, you've lost weight, and you thought, yes, this is success. This is exactly what I needed to do. And slowly your weight creeps back up, maybe to the weight that you started with, but often to a weight even higher than the one that you started with. And that's not because you lack discipline or you need to double down on that diet or eat even less. It's because your body does not see it as a diet. It does not see, oh, she's just trying to lose weight. It sees it as, oh, there's a famine. We need to prepare for the next one by making sure that we are prepared with extra, I would call it reserves, in case we don't have enough food again for the future. Our bodies get really, really efficient at what we do give it because it's more interested in protecting you than it is in how you look. Simple as that. Increased weight gain isn't the only thing that the intentional pursuit of weight loss is linked to. It's also linked to things like an increased risk of eating disorder, which women with PCOS are already at an increased risk for, and an increased amount of inflammation in our body. And we all know that inflammation isn't the best for our health. If you have PCOS, inflammation is already a concern. So why add to it by pursuing weight loss? The other reason that I don't tend to recommend the pursuit of weight loss in order to improve your PCOS or your infertility is because research actually does not back it when it comes to infertility. Now, there is research that shows that there is a correlation between a higher body weight and an increased risk of infertility. That's true. But that same research does not show that taking your weight from where it is down to a lower number actually improves your chance of conceiving or having a live birth. And I think that's what we're really after, right? So it's that whole correlation versus causation thing. Yes, there is a correlation between higher BMIs and increased risk of infertility, but the research that has been done, and I'll make sure to link to it below in case you actually want to read it for yourself, because I'm a huge proponent of that, does not show that pursuing weight loss, does not show that actually losing weight increases your chance of conceiving or having a live birth. So I do it if it's not actually going to lead to the outcome that we think it will. Okay, so what do I recommend then, right? Like, I don't just walk around telling people what I don't recommend. I definitely do provide tips. So rather than focusing on weight loss when it comes to PCOS, when it comes to infertility, I recommend focusing on an overall eating pattern that supports fertility. And when it comes to fertility, right now, the research that we have pretty much says a Mediterranean-based eating pattern is the best way to go to support your fertility, and in my opinion, just support your overall well-being. So what exactly is the Mediterranean eating pattern? Notice I said eating pattern and not diet. I'm not talking about running out and buying the next Mediterranean diet book. Please don't. It's unnecessary. There are actually really great free resources where you can learn more about the Mediterranean eating pattern and how to do it in a way that is supportive for your health and your fertility. So the Mediterranean eating pattern is an eating pattern that's based on the traditional ways of eating of the cultures that live around the Mediterranean Sea. Now, these are very diverse cultures, but there are some commonalities and principles that you and I can take away and apply to the way that we eat and apply to the way that our culture eats that will be beneficial for us. So the Mediterranean pattern is based on eating plenty of monounsaturated fats. For the most part, those come from things like olives and olive oil, but you can also find them in things like avocados or avocado oil. So those are also, and also nuts. So that those are other sources of monounsaturated fats. There's also a very large focus on plant-based eating. I didn't say vegan, I said plant-based. So it's not a complete elimination of animal products. Those can be included if that's something that you like to include in your way of eating.
I almost said diet. Diet works too. Diet is way of eating, but I think sometimes it can get kind of confusing. We hear diet, we think restriction, we think particular way of eating, as opposed to just the way we eat. But I digress.
So the plant-based way of eating, that includes lots of fruits, lots of vegetables, lots of nuts and seeds, beans, peas, lentils, herbs, and spices, things like that. There's also a focus on seafood. If you're trying to conceive, you want to make sure that you're choosing low mercury seafood. And I'll make sure to link to a wonderful little PDF that lets you know where each seafood ranks in terms of its mercury levels, so you know which ones to eat more of and which ones to avoid or eat less of. I think the most important and the most magical part of the Mediterranean eating pattern is the focus on pleasure. Somehow food became utilitarian, and I'm not sure how that happened. I'm really not. There's so much more to food than just its nutrient composition. I know I've said that before, but it's true. So let's say it again and again and again. There's just so much more to focus on, right? It provides pleasure and comfort and connection. And those things are just as important to our well-being as exactly which vitamins and minerals and how many calories are in it. So the Mediterranean pattern actually focuses in on that. Pleasurable eating experiences matter. So there you have it, my answer to how can I quickly lose weight to improve my PCOS and fertility. I don't have a way to help you do that. I do have other ways, though, of helping you get to the actual goal, which is the improvement of your fertility and your PCOS. So if you're asking me, how do I do that? I've given you my tips. Focus on your overall well-being. A Mediterranean eating pattern is a good place to start. Well, I hope that this video gave you some food for thought and gave you a new way of considering how to support your fertility and your health, your overall well-being with nutrition. It doesn't always have to be an extreme. And don't forget that lovely quote by Wayne Mueller: "The soil of the quick fix is the seed of a new problem." We're not after creating a new problem. We're looking for the actual steps that we can take to improve our health. And I hope that this video gave you some of those steps that you can start to take. All right, friend, know that I'm always rooting for you and wishing you the best. Bye for now.